Hey guys, Frank Caliendo, circa 2005, imitating George Bush and John Madden here. So in today's exciting episode of Dragon Ball GT, we're going to be taking a look at a camera that I got a while ago as a B camera to my current DSLR, which is a Canon T6i. Definitely made a regrettable purchase there. However, today we're going to be taking a look at the G9X Mark II. Now, as somebody that watches a lot of camera reviews, I thought I would circumvent the traditional style of mentioning every single little nuance to the camera and every detail for the sake of showing you the most important things and even show you some examples of some video and some shots that came out of the camera. So the G9X Mark II is Canon's smallest point and shoot camera. You could see from this delicious B-roll that it's a small camera. However, it has better shooting capabilities than my current T6i. This thing could shoot all the way at 60 FPS at 1080p. A fact that blows me away and slightly annoys me to this day because the humble T6i can only go as far as 30 frames a second at 1080p. Oh boy, Canon, you should be ashamed of yourself. Now the G9X Mark II has a 1-inch sensor which surprisingly does well in low light situations. Here is a video I took at one of those festivals with the loud music and all the youngins taking drugs. Not me though, I'm better than drugs.
Lucky? I think this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship.
Now that footage was shot in 60 frames a second, so you can see the slow-mo capabilities of this thing. As far as regular shots, this is a great little camera to keep around for B-roll, as well as to put it in places where your big camera can't go. Another amazing factoid about this camera is that it has fantastic stabilization. So the stabilization in this is almost gimbal-like. The camera does a fantastic job at keeping your otherwise shaky footage stable. The only issue that I have with this is that at the higher levels, it does crop in significantly into the frame. So just to give you a reference on the microphone as well as the frame of the stabilization, right now it's at low. So you can see this is the frame that we're talking about. And this is the stabilization at high. So right now you could completely tell the frame and the cropping of the frame. So it's fairly robust. So I would recommend to keep it in the lower levels for its best effect and generally not try to do your best Michael J. Fox impression. Too soon? Is it? So as you can see, stills are fantastic with this camera and it does allow for some fairly decent dynamic range, keeping some details in the shadows. Obviously, this is a point and shoot camera, so don't expect to get the same quality as DSLRs with bigger sensors, but just look at this thing. It's the same size as a deck of cards. And it could definitely fit inside of your pocket without any issue whatsoever, which is the best feature of this camera. Most of the time you have your phone on you, you take the shot with your phone, and don't get me wrong, your phone is completely capable of taking great shots, but it's often restricted by the fact that the sensor is smaller than your hopes and dreams. But on the other side, you don't want to have to carry around a large DSLR, which involves carrying lenses and putting it in a case. And while you do lose quality, you also gain convenience, which is definitely worth the compromise. Whoa, man, what an excellent transition there, Piggy. That deserves a like and a subscribe, right? Well, we're here to talk about the potential cons with this camera, and while there are cons, they're very minimal. This camera, for example, doesn't have one of those flippy screens. It just has one LCD in the back, so you won't be able to see yourself when you're taking selfies or vlogging. But that's a good thing. It forces you not to embarrass yourself. But it does have Wi-Fi and NFC, so you can easily pair it to your phone and use it as a secondary screen. Now, the absolute worst part about this camera, which is completely understandable, is that it doesn't have a headphone jack. You can't put a little microphone, you can't put one of those little things on top and record decent audio. So you're either gonna have to resort to the microphone in the body or have a separate source of audio. So this is what the mic sounds like. I know it's like a small tree monkey sucking on a nipple, But you could get one of these little fuzzy things to make sure that it covers the wind noise, but it still sounds like a puppy lost in a rainstorm. Now, apart from these cons, I have to say this is probably my favorite thing that I have ever purchased in terms of filmmaking. It allows you to have comparable film quality to a bigger DSLR and yet put it inside of your pocket. And yes, you do have some compromises like no 4K or no tilty flippy screen, but it's well worth it for the size and the fact that you could carry it anywhere you want. It's also a lot cheaper than most point and shoots. I've seen this go as low as $400 and even sometimes $350 on eBay and Amazon. If you want a solid B cam or even as an A cam, if you can deal with the inconveniences of a smaller sensor and external audio, you should definitely go for the G9X Mark II. See, that wasn't bad, right? You thought that there would be a lot of that fluff that all these people add just to pad out their video to 10 minutes, but not old pig cake. Oh boy. Well, if you want to see more tech reviews here, make sure to leave encouraging, consensual messages in the comments below and subscribe. I do the news every once in a while, so you should subscribe if you want to keep up to date with the happenings of the world. Well, I guess that's it. That's it. I'm going to leave a link below to the sweet Amazon link where you could get this camera and throw a little bit of that kickback back to Piggy at no cost to you, mind you. That's the hot part of Amazon. They seem to not give a flying fuck. Well, as far as me, I'm going to go and figure out different ways to use blue tape as an aphrodisiac.
Again, when I see you 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 again.